Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. And today I want to share with you guys yet again another fragrance. Now, I've already reviewed this fragrance at least 2 or 3 times, I think. And it's just something that I like to come back to. Well, actually, lots of products I like to come back to. But this fragrance I wanted to share again with you guys because a lot of times, tastes change. People's, likes change. Styles change, trends change. Life changes. And so with this fragrance, I wanted to come back and let you guys know that my feelings about this fragrance have not changed. And I've said many times when I've done my fragrance reviews that I'm not the best nose out there, but I am one of the most honest. And I can tell you guys that this is one that is in my, if you have a top tier shelf in your collection, your absolute favorites, this is one of my go-tos, one that I wear quite often. And again, this fragrance is so unique and so appealing that it's just a real crowd pleaser. And not a crowd pleaser that you're going to smell like everybody else. It's something that you just can't find in your local Macy's or your local department store. Now, again, depending on where you may live. Where I live, we don't have any Nordstrom. So this is a fragrance that you could only find in Nordstrom's and only find at the manufacturer's website. And the manufacturer, the brains behind this is, or the name behind this is George Zaharoff. And this is the fragrance right there. This is Zaharoff. Now, guys, this is just one of the classiest scents that I've smelled to date. I have probably, gosh, I'm saying probably because I don't really know how many fragrances I have at this point. Fragrances, to me, are like leather jackets and watches. You can't have too many. There's always something new. There's always another one to add to your collection to bring enjoyment to your life. And so this is one of these fragrances that I will continue to wear. I'll continue to own. It's one that I'll probably never stop wearing for the rest of my life. This for me is like my Perriel's 360. It's a fragrance that to me is very nostalgic. It's very important to me because it's one of the first fragrances that I actually bought as a young guy, maybe 17, 18 years old, when I started to wear fragrances. When I started to say, hey, I want to wear some cologne. What am I going to get? I settled on Perriel's 360. And I was one of my, when it comes to all your boys and all your friends, everybody wants to smell different. Everybody wants to smell the best, right? And so I just personally always liked that fragrance. It wasn't the one that got complimented most by the women. It was just one that I liked the most. And ultimately, that may be a little selfish, but I really wear fragrances for one person only, me. And I don't really care if a fragrance is cloying. I don't really care if a fragrance isn't a crowd pleaser. I don't care if it's for the office or not. Now, I do take into consideration people's feelings. And if I did work in an environment that it was really bothering somebody, I would probably wear something else or tone it down. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that. So I do not really cater to everybody's feelings when it comes to walking by them on the street or being around them in the grocery store. This fragrance, though, is not one of those fragrances that you have to worry about. This is a crowd pleaser, and it's a crowd pleaser that isn't your just normal aquatic Aqua de Jo, fragrance. It's not your Blue Day Chanel that's a crowd pleaser. It's not your what's another great one? And these are all great fragrances, don't get me wrong. It's not your Sauvage, which I love, I own, I love that fragrance. And guys, most of the fragrances I love. This is not on the daring side. This is on just the crowd-pleasing, unique side. And the way that I can describe this, it's always difficult, and it's always hard when, or not hard, but like when you listen to other guys review fragrances, they'll give you a long spiel about what they smell. Honestly, with this fragrance, it's very difficult for me to really pinpoint what I smell. I can never smell all the different notes and fragrances, and I'd be lying to you if I said I could. What I can tell you is that I love the way it smells, and I can tell you how it makes me feel. And with this fragrance, how I feel dated. I feel like this is something that you might smell at some point of your life. Maybe your grandfather smelled this way. This is your classic. Again, we always compare a lot of fragrance reviewers will compare like Neroli to like that barbershop vibe, that powdery barbershop vibe that you might get in an old men's barbershop. I kind of get that. I kind of just get a nostalgic point to this fragrance where it reminds me of something that's very dated to me. It reminds me of something that you might have smelled. Now, I don't know, I can't really pinpoint that my grandfather wore something this reminds me. This doesn't remind me of anyone. It just reminds me of something very dated, very sophisticated, and very classy. Now, I wear fragrances any fragrances when I want. It doesn't have to be formal. I don't really believe, a lot of guys will come out and say, this is a formal fragrance. You can wear this in, a formal setting. You can wear fragrance whenever the hell you want, right? That's my personal opinion about it. I'm not going to give you, again, a line of BS that I can smell every single thing. What I am going to tell you about it, again, is whether I like it or not, whether I think you should give it a try, if you share kind of my taste when it comes to fragrances. Now, I do like your Aqua de Jo's. I do like your more aquatic Zaharoff Cologne. I do like, what else? What else is another one? I'm trying to think of my collection. I put them in the closet so they're all out of the way because they were taking up my whole bookshelf. Your most recent one that I absolutely love is Aqua Amara. That's a great one as well. But those are like I would consider, what's another one? Set Sail St. Bart. I would consider those fragrances very aquatic. They're very summery fragrances. They're fruity, they're fresh, they're fun. This is sophisticated. This is the kind of fragrance that when you walk in, you know that somebody next to you, or I guess I'm not going to put guarantees out there, but odds are that somebody sitting next to you, somebody in that room probably isn't wearing this because it's not overhyped. It's not something that you're going to see in every single Macy's when you walk in, and that's what I love about this fragrance. Now, I do know that it is sold in Nordstrom's, and yes, if you live in an area where there is Nordstrom's, this is probably selling very well there. But if you live in an area that maybe not in a large city, where I live, I'm not in a huge city, so we do have a mall, but we have a Macy's. We used to have a Sears, a JCPenney, and I think really, and there's a perfume shop in there. You'll find Sephora. You're not going to find this fragrance in those places. And I regret saying that I'm happy about that because ultimately the more that sells, the better George Zaharoff does, and the better he does, that makes me happy as well because you want to see people succeed who make good products, right? Who make something great that deserves recognition. But when it comes to being unique, we don't want that, right? We want to hide these things. We want to make sure nobody else gets to wear them so we smell unique. But you know what? In the fragrance community, it's one thing I love about the fragrance community. You don't have the snobs, the haters like you have in the watch community. At least I haven't really experienced it. And so I think this is great. I think that if you like oud-based fragrances, and I don't mean like that barnyard oud, that very heavy, what you would consider cloying or possibly offensive, overwhelming sense. This is very light. Light enough that, especially when we think of oud, we're like, whoa, easy on the trigger there, right? But with this particular fragrance, I can go 5 to 10 sprays depending on how strong I want it. And it's a kind of fragrance that lasts, but it doesn't, it remains pretty linear as far as its projection and how strong it is. There are fragrances out that you put on, like my Satin Mood, you put that on, like if you overdo the trigger, you'll want to go take a shower because it's that strong. It's whatever those notes are that's in there, and I don't remember off the top of my head. It really can almost give you a headache. This isn't going to do that. And let me just refresh myself here. This is fantastic. Now, the only downside to this, okay, and this is just, I'm going to throw a little comedy in here, okay. The only downside I have with this fragrance is that I wore this so much that unfortunately, I got myself into a little bit of trouble. It wasn't my fault. I ended up getting arrested a couple years ago. I think it's a couple years. A couple years, whatever it is, and the charges got dropped. I was unfortunate at the wrong place, the wrong time, and and I'm not going to go into any kind of political discussion. I think that police officers are great. I think we need them. I have the highest respect for the law, but I dealt with the wrong cop on the wrong day, and he just was not very fair in the way that he treated me. And I'm not the kind of guy that takes people's bullshit either. So, long story short, it's all over and done with. We can all laugh about it now, but it was a pretty serious thing when it happened. And yeah, I'm glad it's over and done with, but unfortunately, I was wearing this when that happened. And every time I smell it, it reminds me of that moment. So that's the crazy thing about scents. they're very powerful. At least for me, since like almost they mark a moment in my life. They mark a memory. So I've always said, if you're like me and scents are very powerful for you emotionally, which they are for me, I don't just wear scents because it's like, oh, you smell good and that's what you should do. Scents are very emotional. It's almost like they imprint in my brain. Like scents that I've smelled over the years that like an old friend used to wear. Whether I'm friends with them or not, whether I'm like that person or not, every time I smell it, it reminds me of that person. Certain scents remind me of certain women. Good or bad, right? Luckily, one of my girlfriends didn't wear fragrances, so I don't have any memory of that particular lady. So that's good, right? And I'm not going to say any names. You know who you are. Mean-spirited girl. So anyway, if I made a bottle of this, it would have worked out, right? But this stuff is amazing. You know, like I said, Zaharoff Cologne reminds me of Vegas, like because one girl I was dating at that time bought that for me for my Vegas scent going down there. Not like anything, not the super rare or pretty generic scent. Love it. Every time I smell it, I think of Vegas. I think of the Cirque du Soleil and the casinos and the pool and good memories, right? Whether it worked out or not. We have good memories in any in most relationships we have with people, jobs. It's never all bad. There's always good things that happen from it. Good things you learn about yourself. Good things in general. It's rarely all bad. So, and that's something to remember, just like I said, some people might take this fragrance, don't take things too serious. Some people might be like, oh, I was wearing this when I got arrested, or this happened to me in my life, and I want to block that out. Remember that lots of good things come from bad things, and lots of good things come from bad people, and all bad people, most people are not all bad, okay? So just keep that in mind when it comes to scents and fragrances. If you like something, don't let somebody ruin it. Or not just fragrances, but anything. If you like something, don't let something else ruin what you did like about that particular thing. So this is a fantastic fragrance. I wanted to share it with you because I am very personal when it comes to this YouTube channel, and I like to share my stories, and I like to laugh at myself. Not you guys laugh at me laugh at myself, right? So fantastic fragrance. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the notes here. We have the top notes are fresh cardamom. There are locations on these, but I'm not going to list those. They list the location of each one of the notes. What I want you guys to do is click the link in the description, check out the fragrance directly from the Zaharoff website. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, let me know. Me and George talk every couple of days, every couple of weeks. So if you have a question, I'm always here to help you guys get an answer. You have cardamom, you have lavender, you have black pepper, not just pear, okay? Not just pear, juicy pear. And then you have blue cypress. In the heart notes or middle notes, you have ginger root, you have blonde cedar, temple oud, Florentine iris, pimento leaves, fir balsam. Then the dry notes or the bottom notes, you have creamy sandalwood, you have gold patchouli, black amber, myrrh, and frankincense. So what do I get when I smell this? With my nose, again, probably it's not the red. I always like to reference Red Adolescence because he is my favorite YouTuber that's reviewing fragrances. There's a lot of great ones out there I enjoy to watch. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy each and every review. You can always learn something from somebody, get a different perspective, different outlook based on somebody who thinks differently and views fragrances differently than you. I just love the way he talks. I love the way he carries himself. It makes me want to maybe express myself in... He's obviously more intelligent than I am, but great guy. I've talked to him a few times through email, and I definitely encourage you, if you haven't checked out, if you like fragrances, I'm sure you've heard of Red Adolescence. He just came out with his own fragrance line. I haven't yet tried it or smelled it, but I'm sure it's fantastic. So very knowledgeable guy when it comes to stuff, very good nose. I can tell you what the average guy smells of this. So for me personally, I get the black pepper. And black pepper, if you've smelled other fragrances, very common one that you'll see everywhere, and it was super popular for a while. Definitely in the cooler weather or the fall. 1 million, and that's a great scent. But you get that black pepper, so you definitely get the black pepper here, and I definitely get that lavender out of here, which I love lavender. So the other fragrances or the other notes, I'm sure. If you could smell, a lot of real professional reviewers will have, they'll kind of refresh their nose with these different notes just by themselves, and then be able to, it's a great way to be able to familiarize yourself. I've smelled lavender, I've smelled cardamom, obviously pepper, juicy pear. Like I said, this has a sweetness, but I can't really pinpoint that. What I get is the black pepper and the lavender. That's really what I mainly smell in that list. As far as the heart notes are concerned, again, your ginger root, your blonde cedar, your oud, your iris, your pimento leaves, and your balsam, your fir balsam. I get the oud. So again, not an overwhelming oud, very mild oud, and I get the cedar. So there is a wood quality, I think a pretty strong woody quality with this fragrance. I absolutely love this. It's like I'm just gonna sit here and just forget you guys are here, and just like engulf myself in the Zaharoff brand. Moving forward, bottom notes: sandalwood, black amber, patchouli, myrrh, and frankincense. I definitely get the sandalwood, and I definitely get the frankincense and myrrh. I think that's pretty heavy in this. So if you like, at least for my nose, if you like those those notes, you'll definitely love this. And I think frankincense and myrrh are two that you don't see in a lot of fragrances, especially in that combination with the oud and the lavender. It is just, it's an intoxicating scent is the best way to describe it. Sophisticated. I definitely can see how some guys might say this is an older gentleman's scent, but guys, you can be whoever you want to be. You can wear younger fragrances. You can wear what we would consider older or dated fragrances. You can be whoever you want to be and wear whatever you want to wear. You can pull off anything you want with the confidence and with the attitude, basically, hey, this is what I like. The rest of you can go screw yourselves. That's really what it comes down to. So this, I don't think any fragrance out there is dated. I don't think you have to be a certain age. And I'll always say that with every fragrance. But I can see how a guy might think that this is more of a sophisticated fragrance. It's definitely something like, if I compare it to what Bentley Intense smells like. There's something, usually when you start getting involved in those woods, the ouds, some of those certain notes, they tend to be a little more sophisticated, a little more masculine, a little more mature. Again, not saying no, everybody can't wear this, they absolutely can, but this is a very, like, this fragrance to me is like, this is a guy who's got it together. Like, this is a guy who has some sophistication. When you smell a fragrance that's fruity and fun, yeah, those smell great too, but you're not gonna smell like this. You know, this is the kind of thing, you know, again, you can wear whatever you want to wear, you know, but when I wear this with again, I can remember what I was wearing when I was that particular unfortunate day. My gray, you know, buffalo leather jacket, you know, my nice fitted jeans, my boots, you know, I just, you know, nice fresh haircut. It's a clean, it's a sophisticated smell, and I absolutely love it. So guys, that's the best way I could describe this. Fragrances are very difficult to describe. It's like describing how, you know, a great slice of pizza tastes. You know what I mean? You just know you love it. And what's most important about being a YouTube influencer and sharing these products with you guys is to express my like for a product. If I review a product, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good, but nothing like that. I have reviewed fragrances that I like, that smell good, but I'm like, yeah, nothing really that really, you know, stands out to me. They're just good. This is awesome. This is a great fragrance, and you know, you guys know I never really get too involved in you know, how it looks. It's more about what's inside that matters. But this is the kind of thing that if I was going to choose which fragrance that I keep out, kind of like to display on my next to the sink, where mine are all tucked away, but out of my 140 something fragrances, if I was going to put one out that like kind of might say, hey, you know, what's this guy wear? If somebody were to see it, this would be one I'd keep out, because there's something sophisticated about it and something classy about it, and I encourage you guys to check it out. So let me close on this. Get it, you'll love it, guarantee you. I can't imagine anybody getting this. And you know, I know there are some oud fragrances out there that are hard to pull off if you don't have the nose for it. This isn't one of those. This is very safe. This is a great way to start maybe dipping your feet into oud if you haven't, and you smelled oud before and you're like, you know, that's a little too much for me. This is a great way to kind of get yourself involved in maybe opening up the doors, opening up your exposure to fragrances that maybe you haven't worn before. Fantastic juice if you want to smell sophisticated, and even though I'm not, if you want to smell that way, you can with something like this. One thing I want to state, there is a coupon code in description. George was nice enough to go ahead and provide a coupon code. If you like this fragrance, if you believe me that I like this fragrance and you want to give it a try and get one, use the coupon code. You'll get a free travel size one. So get a little extra juice. Great if you're going to take that Vegas trip. build a memory somewhere, whatever your case may be, you'll have an extra one, you'll a little more juice, and it doesn't cost you anything. Completely free. Use the coupon code. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's FATCAT. So, but just double check it to make sure you're getting it right. When you add it to the cart, it'll automatically add it for free. Let me know if you did. I want to hear your take on this. I'm excited for you if you decide to get it. I know that you guys will love it, and I encourage you, again, when you get it, drop me a comment, let me know. I do appreciate that, especially when I find the brand that I really believe in. I love to hear back from you guys. And so far, the guys who have commented about this have had nothing but awesome things to say. There's been a lot more guys reviewing this on YouTube, and I think that George Zaharoff deserves all the success in the world. They are coming out with some more stuff. I think maybe some shave stuff. I think they're kind of branching off into some different items, so I look forward to experiencing those. Hopefully some new fragrances, but I gotta tell you that I find this is gonna be really hard to top. Now, I'm sure they'll come out with some great stuff, but this is really hard to beat. So again, George, as always, thank you. My pleasure to review this fragrance. Let me know if I can help you guys in any way. If you're going to get it, click the link. The only way you get just by clicking the link, you don't get the free gift. So click the link, use the coupon code, get the free gift. If you don't even need a travel one, you know, pay it forward. Give it to somebody else who might want to smell good. They'll thank you for it. So, and then they'll buy a bottle of their own. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful day. Have a good week. Be safe out there, and take care.